What's going on, guys? Brad Messersmith here from Slurv.com, bringing you another GPP strategy breakdown. This week we're going to be talking about the Open Championship at Royal Troon, which is going to be a really difficult test for a lot of these golfers. Obviously we're talking about a major championship here, so we're going to be looking for guys who are capable of winning. A lot of times in these majors we see the cream rise to the top, cream of the crop rise to the top. So we're really going to be looking at guys who are realistic options to win here, and you want to make sure your lineup does not contain guys that you don't think can win, especially in GPPs of this size. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We'll rock and roll from start to finish. I'm going to start with Rory McIlroy at 11,900. I think that his ownership is probably going to come in somewhere around 15%, which I think is pretty low for a guy who is clearly one of the best golfers in the world, can win any day of the week. He plays well on links courses. We've seen him win an Open Championship before in really incredible fashion. So I like Rory McIlroy a lot. One thing to note, the last time he missed a cut at a major was about almost 2 years ago. He stormed back with 10 straight top 25s or better after that cut. So he went basically a year and a half of top 25s or better in major championships. So don't expect Rory to take his miscut at the last U.S. Open lightly. I think he's going to come back firing. And like I said, he plays pretty well on links courses. He makes some sense here on this particular course. And at low ownership, I think he's somebody that shouldn't be overlooked, especially lightly. I'm going to drop down quite a bit. There's not a whole lot of guys in the 10 and 9K range that I really love. I think there's definitely a lot of rosterable options there, but I don't necessarily have anybody that really stands out. So I'm going to drop down quite a bit this week and talk about some of the guys I really like down low. First and foremost, in this 8K range, I like Lee Westwood. I think at 8,500 he makes a really interesting option. Somebody who's not being talked about a lot. I think we're going to get him at really significantly low ownership. But somebody who's kind of proven the test of time. He's had 9 out of 10 made cuts at the Open since 2006. So he's been around the block here at this event. 5 top 15s in 6 events. And this year in majors, he was tied for second at the Masters and was 32nd at the U.S. Open, but he came out and shot an 80 on Sunday, so was really in contention through 3 rounds at the U.S. Open this year. So really coming in with good history at the majors this year, and in all majors he's made 7 straight cuts. So really Lee Westwood has shown up in kind of a big way in majors. So I think I like him in this spot, and I think he's probably not being talked about as much as he should be for kind of how he's performed in these types of situations. So definitely makes an interesting option, and it would not surprise me to see him find his way into the top 10 or top 5 this week and really pay off his salary in a big way. The next guy I want to talk about is Bubba Watson at 8,000. I think he's in a really kind of unique situation. He has really poor history at Open Championships. Never really been the type of guy that is talked about a lot in these links style courses and kind of playing overseas in Europe. But I feel like most people are going to rule him out right off the bat, despite the fact that he is clearly way underpriced. He's the world number 5, and he's only $8,000. Something to keep in mind, that the Open Championship history of Bubba has all been on different courses. So I don't necessarily think he should be ruled out as quickly as people are ruling him out. Obviously there are some potential pitfalls with Bubba, but the number 5 golfer in the world, I think, probably is good enough to compete on any course in any country. And on top of that, Bubba is 16th in good drive percentage, 18th in green regulation, and 5th in tee to green percentage, or strokes gained tee to green, which I think all of which are going to be really important this week. So to me, I think Bubba, despite kind of other than having sort of poor results at the Open Championship, I think he makes a lot of sense. I think he shouldn't be ruled out. I think he's really inexpensive. He's made all his cuts this year. I think there's a lot of things to be said about playing Bubba, and I'm going to have quite a bit of them. So let's drop down into the 7K range. I really like Matt Kuchar at 7,800, and this is going to be the chalk play of the week, I think. He's first in my stats model and sixth when it comes to recent form out of all the golfers in the field. So obviously Matt Kuchar is rosterable. I don't really understand why he's 7,800, especially with the recent form he's had. He's been really just off the charts in terms of his recent form. He's been really hot, a whole bunch of top tens in his last 5 or 6 events. Like I said, I expect him to be high owned, but I think in this case it may make some sense to just go overweight and take a pile of him compared to the field. I don't expect Kuchar to get over 30%, but I will probably have something like 40% of him, possibly more in my lineups, depending on how roster construction plays out. I think a golfer that's this good at 7,800, who fits the profile for this course so well, I think is just too good to pass up, and he'll be in probably every one of my cash lineups as well. Dropping down, I want to talk about Webb Simpson at 6,600. Webb Simpson is the type of guy that I think people like to write off because his deficiencies in putting. We see guys like Webb Simpson and Keegan Bradley and Jason Duffner consistently be low owned because of the sort of myth surrounding them that they just can't putt, and that means they can't win. And there may be some truth to that, but Webb Simpson is 15th in strokes gained tee to green, 12th in proximity, 4th in proximity from the rough, and 20th in good drive percentage. Again, a lot of those stats I think are stats that I'm going to be looking at pretty carefully this week, and I think he makes a lot of sense for that reason. Something worth noting, though, he has changed his putting stroke recently, and since his putter change, his results have been a 3rd place finish, an 11th place finish, a miscut, and a 6th place finish. So, Webb Simpson, since he's made that putter switch, has really been very good. And I went back to look just to sort of clarify whether or not Webb Simpson really was putting better or not. And since he made the putter change, he dropped nearly 70 spots in total putting and 30 spots in strokes gained putting, which is a lot when you think about the fact that those stats are cumulative throughout the season. So, his recent putting performance has been enough to really swing his overall total for the season. So, definitely something worth noticing. I think there's definitely been a change there, so it's something to kind of monitor and keep an eye on. And I think Webb Simpson definitely makes some sense on this course, and for that reason, I'll be on him. And like I said, I think he'll be pretty low owned, so I don't think you have to have a ton of him. But I think he's a major championship winner in the past, so I think he's the type of player that could very easily find his way into the top 10. The last guy I want to talk about is Jon Rahm at 6,600 as well. Jon Rahm was just recently declared his professional status, and he was the #1 World Am Golf ranking player in the world. As of late, he was just recently talked about a lot, but I haven't heard him really talked about a whole lot this week. He finished top 23rd at the U.S. Open at Oakmont. He was the low amateur there, and basically since he's declared professional status has been very good. Slipped up a little bit at the Barracuda, missed the cut I think on the line, but outside of that he's been very, very good. His scoring average in 7 events on tour is 68.5, which is incredible. To put that into perspective, there's very few golfers who are under 70, and it's a low sample size, but Jon Rahm has been very, very good. And I think as somebody who is not a seasoned vet, I think he's one of the few that could have the potential to find his way into the top 25, top 15, and for that reason, I'll be putting him into some of my rosters and hoping to hit that flyer. Other than that, that's going to cover it this week. I think those are the guys that really stand out to me. As always, you can make sure you follow me on Twitter at Brad Messersmith, Messer Smith. I'll be tweeting out all kinds of golf-related stuff throughout the week. And check me out on the Slurv.com expert chats on Wednesday nights at 9:30. We'll be going through the entire slate from top to bottom, talking about the guys we like, we dislike, and why that is. And you guys can hop into the expert chat and ask questions and fire away about lineup construction and any other questions you may have. Other than that, that's going to do it. Thanks a lot for paying attention, and we'll catch you guys next time.